It's actually pretty simple to get ahead of 99% of people with AI. And I'm not talking about using it more. I'm talking about using it right. Most people are stuck in beginner mode, and they don't even know it. I spent years inside the AI trenches, building companies, developing internal tools, teaching these skills to millions of people. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that the top 1% use AI in a completely different way. So I'm going to show you the 9 AI skills that will put you ahead of almost everybody, even if you're starting from zero today. And trust me, the last one is my personal favorite. Starting with skill number 1, prompt engineering. This is the foundational skill of talking to AI and creating prompts that actually get you the best output possible. And here's the simplest way I can put it. Garbage in, garbage out. You will not get the result if you don't put in the right input. So let me break down what every great prompt needs. There are 4 things. The first is you define the role. You tell it to act like a marketer, act like a leadership expert, act like a lawyer. Why? Because the AI is looking at all the knowledge in the world, and when you give it a role, you're essentially saying, this body of work is what I want you to pull from. Give me the best answer through that lens. Next, you have to give it context, all the information you have about yourself and your situation. The more you tell it about where you are, the better the response, because it uses that to craft its search through everything it knows. Third, you give it a command. Clear, specific, direct instructions on what you need. The more specific your request, the more dialed in the result. And the fourth is format. Tell it how you want the answer to come out. Do you want bullet points, a table, a PDF document, a spreadsheet? But here's the cheat code that most people miss. If you have an example of world-class output, something you've seen someone else create, or something you've created before, give it that to pattern match against. That one move alone will upgrade your results immediately. Now that your prompt is dialed in, here's where most people still fall short, which brings us to skill number 2, taste curation. And this is honestly the ultimate skill you can develop in this new AI world. Because here's the thing, knowing what great looks, sounds, and feels like is now your biggest competitive advantage. Think about it this way. If you're launching a new product and you need a name for it, AI can give you 25, 50, maybe 100 different name suggestions. But it takes taste to look at all 100 and know which 1 or 2 are actually going to work in the market. Everything else is just noise. This reminds me of a quote from Ben Affleck, of all people. He was talking about where AI is going to be challenged, and he said, being a craftsman is knowing how to work, but art is knowing when to stop. That is taste, and that is your skill to develop. So here's how you actually build it, and the last step is how you lock it all in permanently. First, you need to create your taste library. Where do you go to study what great looks like? I use social media constantly. When I hear something said in a way I love, I write it down. If you're a startup founder wanting to get better at pitching, go watch every winning pitch on YouTube. If you're a musician, study the greatest live performances of all time. If you're a programmer, review the most popular projects on GitHub. Second, develop your communication skills, because your words, how you talk to the AI, will literally shape the output you get. You have to be specific. Instead of saying, make it better, you say, I need a max line length of 100 characters. Instead of saying, make it inspiring, you say, use the word leader, not boss. Those 2 different words get completely different outputs. And here's the real power. People who have studied greatness talk about their work differently, and the AI responds to that difference. And finally, this is how you lock it all in. Implement universal rules. These are repeatable instructions you give the AI in every single prompt. Things like write in 9th grade English, use similes over examples, keep sentences short, avoid cheesy quotes, no em dashes. I use these every single time. The key is to stop thinking of taste as this mysterious 6th sense and start writing it down. Because the moment you document what you love, you can feed it directly to the AI and get exactly what you want. With your taste dialed in, it's time to make sure every single response AI gives you is fully personalized to you. And that brings us to skill number 3, creating your master prompt. Here's the thing, if ChatGPT sounds like a stranger, it's because you've never properly introduced yourself to it. And here's why a master prompt is so powerful. You have a single document that contains everything about you: your role, all your context, your goals, your personality. And every time you go to prompt the AI, you hit that little file icon and you upload that document. I do this for every different role in my life: business, investing, even being a dad.
And watch what happens. It'll generate every question you need to answer so it can build your personal AI profile. Second, answer those questions. Give it as much detail as you possibly can. And here's my personal trick. Use the voice-to-text feature. Click the little microphone icon and just talk through all the answers. Ramble. Give it everything. The more you give it, the better it becomes. It'll take everything you said and condense it into something incredibly precise.
And then the last step. This is the trick. Say to it, generate a master prompt and save it as a PDF. Why a PDF? Because a PDF can be uploaded to every single AI platform on the planet. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Grok, and even the platforms that haven't been built yet. You are future-proofing yourself. This becomes your digital ID no matter where you are. But knowing who you are is only half the battle. The other half is fighting for the perfect output. Most people give up way too early.
Now, the AI knows who you are, but context alone will not put you in the top 1%. You have to make sure your output is as polished as it can possibly be. Which brings us to skill number 4, output iteration.
And the challenge with most people is they don't fight enough with the AI. They get an output and they say, "That's good enough, I guess," and they move on. I am not that person. I fight for it. I tweak it. I play with it until it does exactly what I want. Think of it like a piece of clay. It can be anything, and I'm pulling pieces away and reshaping it until I get the exact object I want. And I go back and forth until it looks exactly right.
Here's an example that should give you some perspective. Did you see the Coca-Cola Christmas commercial that used AI? They used 70,000 prompts to generate that commercial. 70,000! And those prompts were made by just 5 AI experts. Think about how many times each person had to prompt and iterate to make it do exactly what they wanted. That is what commitment to iteration looks like, and the top 1% operate at that level. So here's how you do it. First, always upload your master prompt. This primes the AI with all your context before you even begin. Second, when the AI gives you something you don't love, give it specific feedback. Not make it punchier. That is too vague. Instead, say, open with a strong reframe that challenges the assumption that X. Give it direction it can actually work with. And finally, here's the feature almost nobody uses: Canvas. If you're working on something like an email, and every time you prompt it, it changes too much, ask it to write the email as a canvas. It creates almost like a Google Doc inside ChatGPT that you can click into and manually tweak individual words, sentences, and paragraph breaks. And then, once you have the structure locked in, you can say, use this format to write the next 10 emails, and it replicates it perfectly every single time. Now that you have the perfect output, it's time to make it repeatable. Okay, so now that you've iterated to the perfect output, it's time to lock it in so you can repeat it over and over again without starting from scratch. Which brings us to skill number 5, system prompts. Now, let me clarify something important. A master prompt is a document that tells the AI who you are. That's context. A system prompt is instructions that tell the AI exactly how to behave. And here's the thing that genuinely blows my mind about this. AI is the first technology in history that is actually programmed not in computer code, but in words, which means that anyone who can speak any language, which right now is approximately 4.9 billion people on the internet, is now technically an AI programmer. The tool that programs it is language, and most people are never taught this. Now, I know this might sound complicated, but I promise you it is way easier than you think. And if you get to the third step I'm about to share, you will never have to think about this process again. Here's how it works. Step 1. Take the final output you just iterated to perfection and write this prompt. Write the system prompt that would have generated this exact output, and watch it work. The AI will reverse engineer its own perfect instructions to produce that result. You'll see how detailed and structured it is. Step 2. Save it as a PDF, because now you can take that PDF and use it in Claude, Gemini, Grok, any platform. They all respond to similar language, so a system prompt from one AI will work for another. And step 3, the most powerful one. If you're using ChatGPT, copy and paste that system prompt output directly into the instructions of a custom GPT. This is more advanced, but the benefit is extraordinary. I can share the link to that custom GPT with anyone on my team, and they instantly get the same quality output I do. For example, I built one called the Book Architect. It takes a topic and a person's name, does a full research project, and writes a complete book based on all the content that person has already put out in the world. The power of system prompts is almost unlimited. But what if your ideas have blind spots AI could see? Now you've got AI working for you. But here's what nobody does, and it might be the most powerful skill on this entire list. Skill number 6, using your AI as a critic. Here's the thing, AI is designed to be agreeable. They literally built it to not fight with people. It's essentially programmed to be a people pleaser. But the pros, people like me, we use AI specifically to expose our blind spots. I want the harsh reality. Because if it's just a yes man, I'm only going to get a reflection of my own thoughts that I already want to hear. But if I get it to push back on me, I'm going to get a better version of myself. I'll give you a real example. Just last week, I used AI to rebalance my entire investment portfolio. I gave it my goals. I told it what I was thinking about buying, what I wanted to invest in. And then I said, "What do you think?" And it pushed back hard. There were companies I wanted to invest in that I was excited about, and the AI said no. And here's exactly why that's the wrong decision for your stated goals. And it was right. I didn't love hearing it, but it was absolutely right. So here's how you turn AI from a yes man into your most valuable advisor. And the last step is how you make this permanent so it never forgets to push back on you. First, when you write your prompt, in the role section, put this: act as a devil's advocate. Now it will stress test every assumption you have and list every risk you haven't thought of. Second, once it gives you the hard feedback, ask it to break down everything it said through the lens of first principles. This is a physics concept that means you strip everything back to the absolute fundamentals and rebuild from base truth. Not only will it give you feedback you don't want to hear, it'll teach you how to think about the problem differently. And lastly, if you agree with what it told you, this is the move. Capture that insight and update your master prompt. Give the master prompt back to the AI and say, "Update this context with this new principle." Now it's permanently baked into how the AI thinks about you, and it will never let you violate that principle again. Permanent, built in, and it will never be forgotten. But now, you might have too much information. So now AI is fighting with you, pushing you to better answers, and you're building up a lot of insight. But here's something I bet you don't know and probably won't believe at first. You can actually give AI too much information. I know, it sounds crazy, but it's true. When you overload the context, AI doesn't know what to prioritize, and the quality of the response drops. It starts telling you it can't process everything you've given it. And here's a real example of this problem. I was recently working on building my Dan AI system, my personalized AI version of myself, and I had about 2 million words of context I wanted to train it against. AI simply cannot process 2 million words, so I had to do what I call a pre-compression process. I fed it everything first and told it to compress it from 2 million words down to 200,000 words. It took all of that and distilled it into the most detailed, specific, essential context. And then I used that compressed version to actually build the AI. If you're dealing with large amounts of information, this skill is critical. Here's exactly how you do it. First, paste everything you have into the AI. Transcriptions, data, research, notes, all of it. Then write this specific prompt. Summarize this transcript with bullets for key facts, data, and stories. Reduce it down to 10% of its original size. See how specific that instruction is? That specificity matters. Second, once it compresses everything, ask it this. What did you leave out from the original information? Give me a list so I can decide whether to bring it back, because it may have trimmed something you actually need. And third, lock it in. Take that compressed context, open a brand new chat window, and use only the compressed version as your input context for your next prompting session. Clean start, clean context. Way better output. Now that your context is clean, let's make sure your entire workspace is organized. Now that you've got compressed, powerful context to work with, it's time to make sure your entire AI workspace isn't an absolute chaos. Which brings us to skill number 8, knowledge base gardening. Just like a real garden, your AI knowledge base will need regular maintenance. When ChatGPT first launched, my entire team jumped on it. Everyone was creating their own accounts, running their own prompts, training their own AIs in completely different ways. Nobody was consistent. Everyone was using different data, different instructions, different formats. It was a mess. So I sat down and I taught everyone to use the concept of projects to keep everything organized like a well-maintained garden. Because here's what I've learned. A messy workspace creates messy prompts and worse outputs. So here's how to organize once and reuse forever. And the last one is the key to never losing your work, no matter what changes in the AI world. First, create a dedicated project folder for each initiative or outcome in your life or business. Name them clearly. I have folders for every major business initiative. I have a folder specifically for all my investments, so all the context is always in one place. If you're working with a team, use a shared team account so everyone is working from the same source. Second, upload your master prompt into each project and add the relevant compressed context for that specific project. So each folder has everything it needs and nothing it doesn't. And third, and this is the one that future-proofs everything. Keep your best system prompts organized in clearly labeled folders by department, saved as PDFs. Because I guarantee you that the AI platform you're using today may not be the platform that wins in 5 years. And when the next better platform launches, you want to be able to walk in with your PDFs and be running at full speed from day one instead of starting from scratch. Project folder per initiative, master prompt and compressed context in each, system prompts in PDF by department. And now for the last skill, my personal favorite, and honestly, the one that most people completely overlook. And now we've arrived at skill number 9, my personal favorite, and the one I think will genuinely change your life the most if you actually use it. Personalized learning. Here's the truth. AI is the future of education, but 99% of people don't use it that way. One of the things I do almost every single day is ask ChatGPT to create a research paper on any topic in story format, as deep and as detailed as I want to go. And then I just listen to it at the gym or while I'm walking or driving. I'm essentially giving myself a PhD-level education on demand in any subject, anytime, for free. And here's exactly how I do it. Step 1. Write a simple prompt and tell it how much time you have. Literally, just say, "Teach me about artificial intelligence, and I have 7 minutes." It will calibrate the depth and length perfectly to that time constraint. Step 2. Ask it to put the explanation in simple conversational language. I use grade levels depending on the topic. If it's a complex technical topic, I'll say 7th grade language. If it's something I already understand well, I'll go higher. For example, write me a 10-minute research paper on the history of AI for a 7th grader. Step 3. Click the play icon. Put your AirPods in and just listen while you do something else. You are turning dead time into learning time. Every commute, every workout, every walk, compounding knowledge daily. And here is the reframe I want to leave you with, because this is the most important thing I'm going to say in this entire video. ChatGPT is not a chatbot. That's just one use case. It's a creative operating system. Stop using it only for simple tasks. Start using it to co-create the world ahead of you. Use it to see your blind spots. Use it to have conversations you've been putting off. Use it to reply to the text messages you don't know how to answer. Use it to plan your investments, your business decisions, your personal growth. If you stop playing in beginner mode and start using AI the right way, it will make you an expert in every area of your life. Because 99% of people are still using it like a fancy Google search. And now you're not one of them. So let's bring it all together. The 9 AI skills that put you in the top 1%. Number 1, prompt engineering, because garbage in is garbage out. Number 2, taste curation, because AI generates options, but you decide what's great. Number 3, your master prompt, your digital identity that travels with you to every platform. Number 4, output iteration, because the top 1% never settle for good enough. Number 5, system prompts, programming AI with words, not code. Number 6, AI as your critic, because a yes man makes you weaker, not stronger. Number 7, context compression, because more isn't always better. Number 8, knowledge-based gardening, organized once, reused forever. And number 9, personalized learning, the skill that compounds every single day. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. I've got a lot more content coming your way, and you won't want to miss it. See you in the next video.